Hi everyone, good morning. My name is Damilare and we are here again. This
Are
is
we?
this is
Episode 40.
Techbytes 40. That's a massive landmark
So we are not fools at 40, we are adults at 40.
and thousands of followers
I
and
don't know what I
listeners.
just said.
Like I was trying to get what were you saying? What was this guy saying? And we are not just adults at 40. If I can steal your statement now, we are also thousands of followers at 40, thousands of listeners at 40.
Drum rolls, drum rolls.
Yeah, and
Again,
that's
people at the back
massive.
end will not answer me.
So we just want to take 1 minute to say thanks to everyone who was tuned in to this podcast at one point or the other. We hope you learned something, and we hope to still keep bringing you something new for
Definitely.
100 more episodes, 200 more episodes. Amen.
Amen.
All right, so my name is Damilare, as always. All right, and I have here with me Omole. Hi, Omole.
Hi, everyone.
So this week was very busy for us at TechNext.
Yes,
We
yes.
had the TechNext Convo,
Yeah.
which was like a meetup for top guys in the space.
City
Yeah,
executives.
yeah, C-level, So it was big.
Yeah.
It was
So
big.
if
If
you're
you
not
were
there-
not there, you missed out.
Mr.
What were you doing, bro? You should be at the next one. We
Yeah.
would be unveiling details as soon as they are ready, so you could just watch our space, and you would know.
Yeah.
All right, sure. Just to remind you, Techbytes is brought to you by TechNext, and TechNext is a tech media platform. So we have technext24.com. You can go there to listen to news, reports, analysis, and all the others.
Anything that concerns the tech space. So TechNext is focused on storytelling for the tech space.
So yeah, today we'll be having an interesting conversation. All right, our conversation will be about the effect of internet shutdowns in Africa. We'll be looking specifically at Senegal as a case study because their internet is currently shut down. And we have a guest in the house who we will be having these conversations with, an expert who will be having these conversations with. So if you want to listen to her, just hold on for 10 minutes while Rui takes us to the moon.
Okay. Hi again. So yes, the first one is about the Uber and Bolt drama. So the Uber and Bolt association have said the managers of Uber and Bolt should stop blackmailing them. Stop using passengers to blackmail them. So yeah, Bolt said they're going to add 6,000 naira to the their rates, and the drivers are saying no, that is not enough. So the reason is there's a removal. They removed the fuel subsidy, and everything has jacked up, like everything
Times 3.
Go to the market now. So they are asking for more. First of all, they are saying Uber should reduce their percentage commission, which is 25%, maybe reduce it to 10% or something, and they're asking Uber to increase the fares so that they as
the tides are
as
going,
they are buying more fuel, they are also getting money. So a lot of them have actually parked their cars even without.
So yesterday I took a ride, and the guy was explaining to me that before he uses 1,000 naira fuel, all right, to make trips. He manages it and he makes like 5k. But now he buys 5,000 naira fuel, which is just about the same thing, but it just makes about 6,000 naira. So that's like 1k extra. And that's coupled with the fact that Uber and Bolt will still take their stuff. It will still pay some levies or whatever. And so
it's not working.
Yeah, but it was like, what would he do? So I think many of the riders currently working are at that point of what would we do? What would they do?
So in Ibadan, what they do is they actually use the apps to respond to requests from riders. But what they do is when they get to the riders, they tell them, hey, we cannot collect 2,500 for this trip. If you can pay 5,000, we'll go. If not, you have to cancel the trip. So Ibrahim Ayode of the Amalgamated Union of App-Based Transport Workers said it should stop blackmailing us with passengers. We demanded that app companies should subsidize trip fare for the rider by at least 5% to cushion the effect of increase in price. We also demanded that they slash their commission. Why are they not talking about those? They are selfish. They only think about their business and the money they are making. It never comes to their mind that app drivers are going through a difficult time. Let's go to the next one. NIBSS slashes electricity transfer fees from 5 naira to 3.75 naira, effective July won.
This is good.
Have you?
Yeah, this is good.
Well, that's like a 35% decrease. So yes, NIBSS is the Nigerian Interbank Settlement System. They announced a significant reduction in the electronic transaction processing fee for instant payments effective from July 1st. That's in a couple of weeks. The managing director and chief executive officer of NIBSS, Premier, said that the development was in line with the NIBSS commitment, to drive financial inclusion and support innovation. He said the scheme would also be embarking on a volume-driven discount regime to complement the fee reduction, as further details will be communicated in due course. So yeah, this is actually good because 40% of Nigeria's adult population is still unbanked.
Without a bank.
And even the ones that are banked, they are underbanked. You know how we have underemployment.
There's a reason why people are running to the OPAs, the KUDAs with free transfer
they
charges.
They are going to fintech companies instead.
Yeah, they have free transfer charges. So if this is reduced, I'm sure banks would also have to reduce their own rates, of course. So bank currently like 10 naira for transaction less than 5,000, so maybe to come down to like 8 naira or something, or 5 naira. So.
Amen. Because I don't use banks, so once I get money is deposited in my account, I go to all this. I just distribute to all these
fintech guys,
because it's either they are free or their fees are less,
or they are faster.
Exactly, they are even faster. So why am I using a bank that would waste my time and still collect so much money?
But can we say this administration? Okay, another conversation. I wanted to say this administration have kind of so far been putting like some of the right steps. Yeah. Policies in place.
He said you should allow the poor to breathe.
Hit the ground running.
All right, the next one. So Hall 247 secures 3 million funding. It's been a while we talked about funding on this podcast. But yes, Hall 247, they are a unique platform for businesses to seamlessly book trucks and warehouses across multiple geolocations in Africa using real-time technology. So yes, they've secured a $3 million seed funding. They say they want to drive innovation in Africa's logistics industry. This is interesting.
Yeah,
I think the logistics industry is actually growing very fast.
Yeah,
but because fintech is always top
overshadowing
of mind.
And everything. I think there was a peak period for logistics company, and that was when the AFCFTA agreement was in place and things like that. Like, I know the likes of Cobalt 360, Send.
So it's an Africa-wide thing. It's like everybody across Africa.
Yeah, everybody was trying to jump on it, but after some time, COVID struck them, and they are like, because people were not really.
But they are really growing, and they're growing. That's quite interesting.
And it's also a sigh of relief that Africa is not all about fintech.
Yeah.
Other guys are raising seed funding of $3 million. Before, a few years ago, that was only fintech money.
Exactly.
If you're not fintech, you can't do that.
All right, next one. Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya rank among top 100 for global online threat reports. It just reminds us of the podcast where we talked about cybersecurity and how people should protect themselves online. We know the internet, is like a town hall now.
Different.
where everything happens, but we also need to ensure that we are protecting ourselves. We're not. I know that I saw a data that said 85% of cyber threats were caused by the user.
I think, majority of it are always user. Either you click on a link, you reveal too much information. It's like very rare occasions that someone actually asks.
Somebody comes to you and says, please drop your mother's maiden name and follow me to win $500, and you do that. Like,
some people say drop your account, drop your BVN, drop your date of birth. These are micro KYC information you're dropping, right? Someone knows your date of birth already, knows your account number, knows the bank you use, literally maybe knows your BVN, knows your brother's name, your mommy's name.
What's left?
What's left?
So yes, according to GTEx, that's 2023 report by Kaspersky Security Network. They revealed that Nigeria ranked 50 worldwide for online threats. South Africa ranked 82nd, while Kenya found itself as one of the African countries with the most threats, ranking 35th. So South Africa experienced 106 backdoor and spyware attack attempts in Q1 2023, That's the first quarter of 2023. Kenya encountered a peak of 143,000 similar attacks. The report highlighted that 8.7% of African users encountered phishing attacks in 2022. 8.7% may look small, but it's actually a lot. A lot.
It's millions.
We are more than 1 billion in Africa.
Yeah, so you're talking about millions.
You're talking about tens of millions.
Yeah, maybe about 100 million.
So again, we're asking that you protect yourself. Don't
Please
click
do.
on links.
Please.
Don't share KYC information. That's personal information, BVN.
Yeah, don't also just take pictures of things that are around you, your ATM cards, your phone, your bank app screenshots. You just want to show how much you have, all those kind. As much as possible, just try to avoid
protect
it.
Yourself, exactly.
The internet is a wild place.
Yeah, so this is one that drove conversations on Twitter this week,
especially
in Nigeria. I know it was an Africa-wide thing. People in Ghana were talking about it.
Yeah.
People in SA were also talking about it. But this one was mostly Nigeria. So Tingo Group denies fraud allegations. So Tingo Group is... I don't know. I'm trying to
know how to define
I'm trying to remember the board of directors now. One of them is a popular person, but we'll mention names here. Yeah, so Tingo Group has denied the fraud allegations outlined in a report published by Hindenburg Research. So the fintech firm, founded by a Nigerian entrepreneur, came under scrutiny after allegations from Hindenburg Research sent Tingo's group share price crashing. I know it crashed. I saw minus
0.0.
I saw minus 55% at some point.
Yeah, it went to $0.08.
Wow.
That's like... It's 8 cents.
Wow, is this the best time to buy their shares?
Do you think you ever... Okay. Let me not talk.
But so, in responding to the allegations, Tingo Group said Tingo Group refuted the malicious and misleading allegations that we're quoting them now in Hindenburg Research report, describing the allegations as baseless. The report, which contains numerous errors of fact together with misleading and libelous content, appears to be a deliberate attempt to undermine the positive work that Tingo Group is undertaking across various worldwide markets. That's what Tingo Group said in their statement.
But this is not the first time that people are actually insinuating
that Tingo Group is fraudulent.
I think the first time that happened was when they had a presser, or like they had a story up on Bloomberg. And Bloomberg was like they were looking to raise some hundreds of millions.
Yeah, and
they were looking to also list on NASDAQ or something. People were like,
I think
this is a Nigerian company.
I think
they are currently listed now, but this was like early last year or something. People were like, this is a Nigerian company. How come we don't know?
We don't know. So you're a Nigerian company and we don't know.
And you say
we literally don't know what they do.
I read the report and these guys say they have lots of arms, lots of companies, Tingo Pay, Tingo this, Tingo that, even the DMCC. And
where is their office, first of all?
Apparently they have offices. But the report
without signboards or what?
Yeah, without signboards, somewhere scanty.
That's already a red flag.
Somewhere not in operation.
That's already a red flag.
Yeah.
So Tingo Group was accused of exceptionally obvious scams with completely fabricated financials.
Yeah.
The report alleged that the company sought to sell products it didn't have, including mobile phones, food processing, and an online food marketplace for farmers primarily located in Nigeria.
Yeah.
None of that exists.
They say they have about 12 million or 18 million farmers on their roll. And I'm thinking, if we had 18 million farmers in this country, farmers will make more money. Our lunch will not be imported.
We will not be worried that tomato is going to increase now.
Bro,
because there's going to be competition.
And they say they have them on their payroll, and major agri guys in the space came out to say nobody in this country has 18 million farmers on their payroll. Even if there are 18 million farmers,
for me,
nobody.
if I can't find your office with a signboard on maybe something on the building or a signboard that says this is Tingo.
And the crazy thing is, many of the partners, many of the people, many of the associations that they have partnered with, according to them, have all come out to deny it at some point or the other. FCMB denied it. The farmer association groups denied it.
I think I saw another bank too denying it.
Yeah, everybody has been denying it. Even their distributors for the phones that they say they give to farmers and all of that have also denied it. So everyone has been denying. So if everyone is denying, where's the product?
Non-existent.
Oh, what can we say?
All right, that's the end of the news segment. Dami.
All
Back to
right.
you.
Thank you very much. We hope you got informed about one or two. And
To read more, you can just go to technext24.com. Technext24.com.
Yes, what you said. All right, so the conversation of today. So we're going to be talking about internet shutdowns, a threat to democracy. If you're just listening in or tuning in, so to this podcast, we'll be talking about the internet shutdowns and the implications for the democracy in Africa specifically. All right, so in recent times, internet have sort of become a new basic amenity. I mean, before growing up, it used to be clothes,
Housing.
shelter, food,
Yeah.
water. Okay, water is part of food.
Yeah.
Which other one again?
I think just three: clothing, housing, food.
Food, yeah. But I can say that internet is now
No,
what?
internet is the fourth. The
It's
fourth
the
realm.
fourth one now, yeah. Because actually, everything we do these days
Yeah.
has revolved around internet. And post-COVID, it has only gone up, not down. Because post-COVID, people have come to discover that many of the things that we always want to do physically
Yeah.
can be done online. And this has made connection, communication, and, digital nomady.
There's a life there. So there's a virtual life and there's a physical life.
Exactly.
The virtual life is, I think it's like 70-30 now. Because a lot of relationships are happening on the internet.
I mean,
compared to-
everybody is launching VRs,
Yeah.
ARs, interconnection.
There's a marketplace. you can shop.
Metaverse. So this is the internet is a world,
Yeah.
and being cut off from it literally means you're denied your basic human rights.
Basic fundamental human rights.
Yeah. But what we've come to find out is African governments, okay, let me not call names now, but African governments, all right, wield this power, all right, and they've been using internet shutdowns to stifle conversations.
Free speech.
Yeah, free speech, conversations online. And we had our fair share in Nigeria as well. Twitter shut down in 2021, all right, which it wasn't rolled back until like 2022. So it's for like 8 months or
And
thereabout.
I just feel like they rolled it back because election.
Yeah, it was election period, primaries, and
So
all
they
of
needed
that
to
were
use
coming
the same platform that they
to
shut
do
down.
campaigns and all of that. And I mean, that was the case in Nigeria. We've had other cases across the continent, where even across the globe, where people are protesting against the power, and the government is using that to ensure that communication
so news
is not
doesn't
slick.
get out.
News doesn't get out. People are not able to talk about their experience.
They can't
They
organize.
can't share.
They can't mobilize themselves
can't
because I remember NSAS. It was
NSAS.
through the internet that people were able to. Okay, we are meeting here. We are meeting there. It was through the internet.
Yeah, it was, and all of that. But and the recent case now that made us want to have this conversation is that of Senegal. All right, for the last couple of days, the internet has been shut down. Yeah, and people are complaining, people are talking, but it feels like it's pretty much a norm in Africa. But it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be, which is why we're going to be having this conversation today. And to join us, we have Aisha Dabo. She's the co-founder of AfricTivistes, an African League of bloggers and cyberactivists for democracy, as we delve into the intricacies of internet shutdowns, their impact on freedom of speech, their impact on access to essential services, and the long-term stability of democratic institutions. Because I mean, a shutdown is literally one step away from an autocratic nation. All right. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting conversation, and we have Aisha with us. Hi, Aisha.
Hello, Aisha.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah,
doing?
we're good. Trust you've been good as well.
Yes, tired, but we're good.
All right. Thank you for joining in today. All right. So we'll go straight into the conversation. I'll start, and then we'll take other questions. So first off, I would go straight. So in your opinion, all right, how do you think, how do you understand the effect of internet shutdowns on democratic processes?
Using Senegal as a case
Yeah,
study.
Senegal in particular.
Yeah. Okay. Our organization has been fighting against internet shutdown and throttling social media blockages since, I would say, early 2012, 2013, when in West Africa, actually, the Gambia was the first country to pass a law that was specifically dedicated to try to control the internet and making it legal in a way by having a law. Of course, when we talk about, as you said earlier, internet is part of life now. It's a commodity. And the rights we have in real life are the same rights that we have online. And it's the role and responsibility of governments in general to make sure that actually the fundamental rights of citizens are upheld online. We would say there's a kind of an internet boom the past decade because there's of course misuse of internet, that's a fact. But that comes with lack of digital education or digital literacy for many people. Because it doesn't mean that because there is internet, it's a no man's land. As a citizen, you have rights, you have responsibilities. And you shouldn't be involved in anything that's subversive or would create chaos into the country. So in the case of Senegal, actually, Senegal is considered as one of the beacons of democracy on the continent,
because of peace.
on West Africa. Yes, because of the peace in the country. Despite all the challenges the country has gone through, there have never been a coup. There have been regular elections. Just to remind that Senegal has been having elections since the 19th century because there were French some parts of Senegal, actually, citizens of some parts of Senegal had the French nationality and they did take part in elections. So it's a tradition of going to elections that dates back before independence. So the situation we have today actually is more and more Africans and young people in general are using the internet. In Senegal, between 70 and 75% of the 17 million population are young people, are considered young people. So everyone is online, and the government actually decided to shut down the internet partially for 2 days. It was lifted after 2 days because they said it was a way for them to control hateful and subversive messages. Just to give a background information, on June 1st, there's one of the leading, the leader of the opposition actually had a case going on since 2021 over an alleged rape. So on June 1st, the verdict came out. He was accused of rape and death threat. So the judge acquitted him of those 2 charges, but came up with a new one and sentenced him to 2 years for corrupting youth. So that's what got young people angry, and they came out in the street just to protest because judiciary actually for some time now has been seen as not being fair and being partial when it comes to giving out verdicts. And since Macky came to power, this is the third opposition leader and possible major challenge in a presidential election to his rule that has been sentenced. So it's seen as the judiciary being used to make sure that candidates considered threats are not cannot take part in the presidential elections. So that's what this. It's not just people who are against the fact that Sonko was sentenced, but there are also people who had other grievances like unemployment, like frustration of seeing a section of the population closer to the ruling coalition party living large, while other people have difficulties actually having 2 meals per day. So there's a lot of frustrations and the instrumentalization, that's a word used, of the judiciary that has led to the massive protest. As of yesterday, 24 people have died in these protests, and mostly by bullet wounds. Live rounds were shot. So in a way, some of the mobilization was done online, and people were just, filming and sharing online what was happening on the ground. And one specific important thing actually that was shared is some civilians in unnumbered pickup trucks have been seen working with the security forces, shooting on civilians. So recently, the police came out and said that these were unidentified people who are not Senegalese who were shooting, but videos came out showing that actually the images that were shown, these were people who were working with the police. And there are a lot of fact-checking that has been done on that, but the police is maintaining that there's some unidentified forces, foreign forces actually, who were in the protest and were being very violent with the weapons they were using. So it's a kind of there's also the issue of mistrust between citizens and the government. Coming back to internet, before the partial blackout, actually, there was Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp were blocked, and people could access those apps only using VPN. And because there's a hashtag actually called Free Senegal, and there's
can we take it up from
AfricTivistes,
there?
we just
Hello, Aisha.
Excuse
Can we
me?
take it up? Yeah. So maybe we should be specific now. So how did the internet shut down? You know, the shutdown of social media platforms and the internet shutdown itself. How did it affect things like mobilization and freedom of speech? How did it affect expression? People trying to express themselves online.
Yeah, because the thing is, when the social media apps were blocked, people were using VPN and were still being able to share. And what I was saying earlier is AfricConnect was able to collect data and say that, in 3 days, there were 1.4 million tweets that were sent using the hashtag Free Senegal, and that's only on Twitter. So it shows that it was not effective. So when it comes to affecting people, because many people use WhatsApp to be able to sell, to be able to communicate. There are some people who use Facebook or Twitter to work. So there's a problem when there's a country is in a crisis. Access to information is important, because what we've noticed is there's a lot of manipulation from either side about what's really happening. So people who are in the capital, or some people know about the VPN, but those who are far away don't necessarily know about VPN, but they need to have information to know what's really going on. Because the partial information blackout actually is heightened by the fact that many media houses, maybe because of being afraid of repercussions, are not reporting the issues happening on the ground as they used to. Senegal has always been known as a country where the media would report live on issues, but the media is very polarized right now, and people rely on social media in general to get a different kind of information and be able to make informed choices or decisions based on that. So it has partially impacted people. But when the blackout came in, if you didn't have a Wi-Fi at home or in the office, you won't be able to have access, and that has impacted some people. And there was a friend who was joking and said, I am an internet internally displaced person now, because he used this. Yeah, he was using a modem with a mobile data, and he had to go to his parents' house to be able to have a Wi-Fi and use the internet. The shutdown was between 1 p.m. up to 3 a.m. Usually that's the time people would be online sharing, but people were finding alternatives to that also. I don't think that the shutdown has been effective, because it didn't help control anything. The hateful or subversive messages from either side continued. People continue to share the videos of what was happening on the ground. Of course, because of the number of deaths, let's go back and say Senegal is not used to having this many deaths in just 3 days. If you look at the situation in 2021, 2012, when President Wade wanted to seek a third term, the maximum, I think, depending on reports, some say we had, during the whole process, 14 people dead, or just 20 maximum. And right now, in 3 days, we had 16, and now we are 24, just in 3 days, because there are people who were wounded and taken to hospital and they died afterwards. And so it didn't have the impact that was expected. And on the economic side, actually, it is reported internet each time there's an internet blackout, there's $8.2 million that's lost in terms of economy in Senegal. So that's a lot of money. Of course, there were violence, properties, public and private properties were damaged. But, the justification for shutting down the internet and blocking some social media app, personally, I don't think it had the expected effect. And the fact that yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So how do international laws, on internet shutdown, or regulations that address internet shutdowns and say, don't do, internet is a fundamental human right. How do you think they prevent, do you think rather they prevent, government from shutting down the internet?
Until now, international laws has not been, has not helped in a way, because governments all around Africa, as I said earlier, from 2012 moving forward up to now, governments have been making sure that all actions they were taking illegally, and specifically that had to do with the internet, they make it legal by getting it passed as a law in parliament. Mostly it's put under the Anti-Terrorism Act, or the Telecommunication Act, where it gives the state the power actually to ask the internet service providers to shut down the internet for a number of hours or complete blackout. When we talk about international, actually, you have the ECOWAS court in Abuja that has ruled against Togo for the shutdown in 2017 and ruled against Nigeria for blocking Twitter specifically. So right now we are working on taking the case before the ECOWAS court, and because we don't need to take it to the local domestic court first, we can just go straight to ECOWAS. Because there was lack of access to information, freedom of expression, and economic freedom, etc. Many aspects actually, and rights were trampled on with this shutdown and the fact that social media were blocked.
Yeah. So you mentioned economic.
Yeah. So you mentioned economic. Being affected, the economy being affected, people not being able to
millions
do
of
things.
dollars.
All right. So how also was this shutdown affecting vital services? I know you mentioned the period between 12 p.m. to 3 a.m.
Yes.
that the internet was being shut down. I'm sure there are going to be telemedicines, healthcare services, insurance, the online educations, edtech,
even people that sell online.
Yeah, and emergency communication, the press, the media. How are these guys able to access the internet? How are they able to navigate? How did this affect them?
Yeah, what everyone is saying, because this is still fresh, so the impact, the details will come as we go. For instance, for the media, they said that, because when you are on the field as a journalist, you need to be able to be in touch with your media house. If you need to, broadcast live, usually they do that using mobile data. And they have not been able to do this. And the shutdown actually has affected those who are specifically, who are multimedia, who are just online media compared to the others. And there's, just to mention, there's one TV station whose signal was suspended during the protest. And they were, using the internet to be able to broadcast, and people were accessing information using the internet to be able to have information. According to data, there is between 96 and 98.4% of the Senegalese population that uses mobile data. So it's a very, very
Wow.
low percentage of the country that uses Wi-Fi. This is the number of people who have access to internet. So everything is based on mobile data. Of course, the mobile transfer, money transfers were affected during the shutdown. Some of them, like no publicity wave, were able to find a way to use USSD to be able to send and transfer money. And for others, they already had it, but many people are so used to using the mobile app that uses internet that they don't necessarily know the code. So when you have it has impacted all sectors actually of society. And just to remind, just to indicate that from the first, actually, there was no school. Because the country for 3 days were very, very, the tension was high. It was 3 days of, clashes, crackdown, and many people, actually, people were more stressed than thinking about their survival than thinking about, I need to go to school and etc. And unfortunately, during the protests and the clashes, the University Sheikh Anta Diop, one of the biggest university on the continent, actually, there's a faculty that suffered a damage of its archive. They lost, I think, between 200,000 and 300,000 files that date from the 1956 or 57 to date that was burned. So there's also that aspect of things. Coming back to the health part of it, because when people actually are taken to, many young people were arrested. When they're taken to police stations, etc., they don't necessarily have the means to contact their parents. And also, if there's in the private sector, they use mobile applications to be able to manage the patient data, etc. They were affected unless they had a Wi-Fi in the country. As I indicated, there's a very small percentage of the country that uses Wi-Fi because people rely on mobile internet. And the mobile internet in Senegal actually is one of the fastest. It's still slow compared to what it should be, given the number of fiber cables we have here. But it's very, very good compared to many countries. So most people never saw the need to have a Wi-Fi because you already have a mobile data that's working.
So let's talk solutions
perfectly.
now. Let's talk solutions now. If you were on possibly a table with the government and want to phase out internet shutdowns, we are looking at alternative strategies that governments can employ to address security concerns without resorting to internet shutdowns. What would be those strategies you would lay before the table?
Okay, for us, I think for the past 3 years or 4, the president has been talking about managing social media, sending to Parliament a bill to be able to manage social media. What we have always said is we are not against regulating, but we want a regulation that will uphold the fundamental human rights. And in that, we include that there's a serious need for digital literacy, for people to understand, because their rights are being tampered by the government, but there's some messages that are being shared online, not necessarily in relation to this situation that we're living in, that are very subversive. And I think if people really understood what are their rights and responsibilities as citizens, there's some type of messages that they would not share. So digital literacy is a big component of it. There's the Commission for Private, how do you call it? Commission Nationale pour les Données Personnelles, CDP. It's a commission in charge of managing personal data at national level, and they don't have much resources, but they've been doing digital literacy in schools. another recommendation would for the government to increase actually the funds that are given to the CDP to be able to continue what they're doing. But apart from that, to include in the curricula actually digital literacy and civic education, specifically rights, citizens' rights, but also citizens' responsibilities. Because I think at all levels of schools actually, and also do outreach campaigns that will go to the broader population who are not necessarily in Arabic schools or in French schools, go to markets, raise awareness, sensitize people. There's a lot of there's a lot that needs to be done. And apart from that, another thing is actually this perceived or real unfairness of the judicial system. The judicial system is the place. You have three powers, basically: the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. And the judiciary is supposed to be the referee. If as a citizen I see that the referee is siding with someone, I think there is the judiciary has been a reference for years, but when it comes to certain cases, there's a perceived bias, real or not, but there's a perceived bias that's there, and maybe try to be more impartial. There's a saying that say a perception of bias can be considered as bias, so it's a different level. Another thing also that's important actually, it's those who are closer to the government and the ruling party who usually are also sharing just same subversive message, but they have also, like the other parties, very violent language online, and none of them actually is being arrested, none of them is being charged, none of them is being tried. So it comes back to, because you're closer to the government, there is nothing against you. At least there needs to be some fairness in making sure that we don't go back to a situation where we will need to have another internet blackout. It comes back to the fact that basic and fundamental human rights should be respected, and as citizens from either party or side, we all have rights and responsibilities. And I wanted to add one thing. Senegal is not known for this kind of situation, violence, or even going up to officially saying that you are shutting down the internet, and the image of the country is being tarnished. And from seeing other countries, what has happened in other countries, there are lines that you cross, there is no going back after you cross those lines. And it's very, very unfortunate that young people had to die. Another thing that doesn't necessarily have to do with internet, but I just wanted to give a context, is the fact that these young people are saying this opposition leader, Ousmane Sonko, has a vision of restructuring the system. And they believe in that vision. So now what they're saying, instead of migrating and dying in the Sahara, or migrating and dying in the Mediterranean Sea, I would rather stay in Senegal, fight for what I believe in. And if I die here, I know that I died for something, a value. So when someone has nothing to lose, when a head of state, when you're in a country where young people are saying, I don't have anything to lose, I'm ready to die for the dream I have of seeing this guy getting to power, there's a lot of reflecting to do, introspection to do. The government also has to readjust and review its approach and the way they talk to the youth, because these young people actually believe in certain things, and you cannot just say that you are undisciplined, that's why you are doing this. That's not the language I think that will make people not go out the next time. There should be
the last one, damn it.
Okay, so in 2022, African countries lost $266 million to internet shutdowns. All right. I think leading the charts was Ethiopia, then there was Nigeria. There was Nigeria and some other countries. Sudan appeared like a number of times, like different periods and stuff. I know you mentioned in your conversation now that this is like the first time Senegal will be doing something like this. It is not something that is Senegal is known for and all of
Peace
that.
and stability.
Now that this has been done, what do you think would be the long-term consequences, all right, of this that has been done? And maybe if there will be a reoccurrence in the future, what do you think would be the consequences on, you know, the democratic institution and the social fabric of both the youths and everybody in the country?
Okay, I just want to add, this is the first time the government is acknowledging actually that they're doing a blackout. In 2021, there was for some hours, still the same political case. What can be done? I mean, in Wolof there is a word that says that said ndëpp. It's a kind of an introspection, a general introspection, because I think there is a generational divide between those who are ruling and those the majority of people. The median age in Senegal is 19 years, so it shows that there's a huge gap between. And these actually the things that have happened have shown that there's actually they don't understand each other. They don't speak the same language. They don't understand each other. I think what needs to be done now to prevent a reoccurrence is to resolve, first of all, this perception of an unfair judiciary. Two, another point that I didn't mention is the fact that the president actually, he hasn't declared it yet, but it seems that he's going to seek a third term. So that's one of the, that's another big one. If he was to come out and say, this is my second and last term, I think it will resolve many, not everything, but many issues, and it will prevent the violent protests that we've seen, the scale actually of it that we've seen. The third thing, there were between 500 and 600 people that were arrested, mostly from the Pastef opposition party before the June 1st verdict and everything that followed. And the police announced that in the 3 days they arrested about 500 people. Yesterday, many people were released. They were taken before the courts, and some of them were bailed, majority were released, especially they were mostly minors. I believe releasing all political prisoners will help ease the tension and prevent us, having to be in a situation where internet will be shut down and people will be affected. The third thing is to organize free and fair election, to have a level playing field, actually, for the candidates who are going to run for the February 2024 elections. So the internet usually is impacted by what's happening offline. So most of the recommendations that I've given have to do with real life, to prevent us, being in a situation where there will be internet shutdown, internet throttling, or blocking social media platforms.
All right. Thank you very much, Aisha, for the conversation today. It was an eye-opener. It was good to have someone on the ground talk to us about the experience and what it means for the country and all of that. We really appreciate that. Thank you. I know you are the co-founder of AfricTivistes, all right? Do you want to maybe share your social media handles and all that so people can follow and continue conversations with you?
Yes, my handle is MASHA Nubian, Masha Nubian, that's my handle. And the handle of the organization is @AfricTivistes with ES at the end. And also, happy Friday to everyone, and Juma Mubarak to my Muslim fellows.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Mine is Ackdown07. I'll go first this time.
Okay. Mine is just look for Omole Omori and you'll find it.
All right. Don't forget that this is episode 40 and Techbytes is brought to you by TechNext. TechNext is a tech media platform. You can check out our platforms, technext24.com. And for Techbytes, you can listen to all the 39 other episodes on our platform: Spotify, Apple, Google, everywhere. YouTube, Facebook. Just check it out and you wouldn't be You wouldn't be disappointed.
You wouldn't be.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for joining in today. Have an amazing
Weekend.
week.
Reduce it now.